Which Indian specialty stock am I talking about? Here are your hints. 4 days ago, this firm executed a 130 crore joint venture with an Australian firm to develop nano silicon technology for battery application. This will accelerate and enhance its footprint in the high-margin EV batteries market. And on Jan 31st, this firm completed a 3,800 crore acquisition of India's largest phosphonate producer and water treatment specialist firm. The target firm is debt-free and is a key supplier to all FMCG global leaders like P&G, Unilever, and others. The 2 महीने से stock price में 20% से अधिक का correction हुआ है due to the lower than expected Q2 numbers. फिर भी equity research analysts are seeing an upside of 40%. Unke mutabik, the high demand for carbon black, acquisition in the specialty chemical domain, and the undervaluation are great reasons to invest in this share. Is this the right time to invest in this firm? तो शुरू करते हैं एक unbiased analysis just based on facts on India's carbon black manufacturer PCBL Limited. My name is Ashish Thomas. I am an graduate and a management consultant. My daily job is to evaluate firms, understand their risk, and anticipate market moves. And I thought, why not apply all of this to the stock market? So here we are, and let's jump right in. The first thing that we're going to do is to understand the company's business model. With 55 years of operation, PCBL is India's largest and world's 7th largest carbon black manufacturer and has a strong position in the related specialty chemical space. एक सेकंड, आप शायद ये सोच रहे होंगे कि कार्बन ब्लैक है क्या? ये क्रूड ऑयल या कोल के रिफाइनिंग प्रोसेस में जब सारे हाई ग्रेड हाइड्रोकार्बन्स निकाल दिए जाते हैं जैसे पेट्रोल, केरोसिन, आपके पास एक सिर्फ थिक ब्लैक लिक्विड बचता है जिसे ऑयल फीडस्टॉक भी कहते हैं। इसका कोई एनर्जी जनरेशन में यूज नहीं होता, तो इसे जब और जलाते हैं इन अ लिमिटेड ऑक्सीजन एनवायरनमेंट तो कार्बन ब्लैक बनता है। The company has 3 product segments: tires, which contribute to 65% of the total product portfolio, performance blacks or the non-tire blacks, and finally the specialty blacks, where 100 plus chemical grades are offered over non-rubber segments. Through its 5 factories, PCBL commands a 35 to 40% market share of the domestic carbon black market, with other players having sub 20% market share. Overall, 70% of its market is domestic. However, 70% of its specialty chemicals is actually sold across 50 countries. Now, there are 3 things that gives PCBL a competitive edge based on its current strategy. Part of a strong promoter group. PCBL is a part of RP Sanjeev Goenka Group of Kolkata, which operates other listed companies like CSC in power, Spencer in retail shopping, First Source, which is a BPO, and others. You might also know them for being owners of the IPL team Lucknow Giants. Most of its companies are AA rated, so being part of this group gives PCBL a very strong financial flexibility. There's a strong market demand. The global imposition on Chinese carbon black, reduced consumption of the Russian carbon black due to war, and regulatory constraints on European and North American production has opened up a huge international market demand for PCBL. The domestic demand continues to remain high due to the government push for Make in India and price competitiveness. And finally, product innovation mein PCBL is continuously innovating the carbon black use. It has ventured into high margin superconductive carbon black, which opens its market to the lithium ion batteries. Unka jo Aqua Farm chemical acquisition हुआ था, which I spoke about earlier, opens them to the water treatment and detergent manufacturing space. Any new entrant will not have these kind of synergies and R&Ds which are available to them, so it is not going to give a large or major challenge to PCBL at the moment. With that, let's take a look at the financials. Before we go there, आपने काफी सारे stock analysis videos देखे होंगे, but very few go into the kind of depth like we are doing today. So please go like the video अगर you haven't already and do subscribe. वहाँ bell icon होगा, वहाँ पे all notification click कीजिएगा so that you're up to date because there's one new stock analysis coming every 3 days. We'll use Q3 2024 numbers for this analysis. PCBL का sales volume grew by 19% YOY, but the revenue only grew by 2.1% YOY. This happened due to the 15% decline in the market prices, which was a direct result of oversupply of cheap Russian carbon black before the active consumption restraints were placed. EBITDA improved by 30% due to the rising share of the high margin performance products and specialty carbon blacks in the overall sales mix. In line, the company profits also increased by 12%. Some more insights for you. The operating cash flow is positive, nearly doubling in a year. Capex is also more than doubled, which is accounted by the investment in acquisition, joint venture, and new factory establishment. However, on the conference call, it was mentioned that debt raised for acquiring Aqua Farm will be paid back in 30 months. I think this is too optimistic as the EBITDA growth is not high enough to still have enough after paying maintenance costs, new expansion costs, and interest rates. So this is something that we need to track closely in the next conference call. The debt to equity is around 0.38, which is still higher than the industry debt to equity, and return on equity is pegged at 16%, which is in line with the industry. From an equity research perspective, they are anticipating 40% upside on the stock with a revenue growth of 20% and profit growth of 16%. All bullish on the capacity increase and high demand across the product lines. Finally, the promoters are the largest stakeholder at 52%. The shareholder pattern is stable with no insider selling. FIIs have marginally increased the stake quarter on quarter, now it's 7.1% after a massive selling in December from 10.8% to 8.1%. With that, a view on its risks. 70% of the oil feedstock which we learned about earlier, जो उनका raw material है वो imported है, तो profitability is dependent on raw material volatility and foreign exchange prices. With 65% revenue coming only from tire, काफी dependence on the tire industries जो cyclical होता है. With EU making stringent laws, PCBL को काफी सारे regulatory needs meet करने पड़ते हैं to sell in Europe, which in turn increases costs. And that brings us to the valuation. On the football field, equity research analysts are claiming that the share will be hovering between 340 to 425, predicting an upside to the share. The relative valuation is between 287 to 363 when compared with against Indian peers like Himadri Specialty, Rain Industries, Responsive Industry, and others. On Ondisive, however, which is true cash flow valuation, the company is between 273 to 323 at a WACC of 10.5% and a long-term growth of 6.5%. I'll also add the book value is around 86 rupees. So net, the stock is undervalued and shows a good growth potential of 15 to 20% in the next year. Final thoughts. अगर आप लोगों को कुछ अच्छा लग रहा होगा in the video तो जरूर लिखना what is the next share you want me to look into, and do not forget to click the bell icon to get all the notifications. The goods. Position of a market leader, new market acquisition, and joint venture to diversify revenues. Active capacity expansion and the undervaluation of the share makes it an attractive buy. Any potential raw material price increase or changes in the demand, business revenues can fall as we saw in Q2 and crash the share. With this, in my opinion, there's a lot of goods and bads to PCBL. It's a must-add portfolio addition consideration. That's all from me today. I hope this has given you a great starting point as you think about PCBL as a share. Do like the video, please drop in the comments. Aapke comments काफी valuable रहेंगे as I continue to build this channel. Please share this with like-minded investors. Do note that I'm not SEBI registered and these are my independent views and analysis. So please do your own research before investing. Thank you.